Good morning. We come together this morning in sacred meditation to honor the mothers in our lives, the ones who birthed us, raised us, taught us, and who opened our hearts to the powers of love, wisdom, and empathy. We come together to celebrate the divine feminine as the sacred container of all life. The Earth Mother, the source of creativity, fertility, and the spirit of love that sustains us. We come together to connect to the voice of the mother side of God. Her voice reminds us that from the earliest archaeological evidence of human history, the great mother of the Neolithic period and the later Greek mother earth goddess Gaia and the Sophia goddess of wisdom embodied some of the first qualities of the divine feminine. Through the centuries of evolution, the Great Mother was honored and interpreted in cultures all over the globe. As the years passed, the Great Mother became defined in a multitude of goddess faces, defined by specific qualities and roles. In today's mystical Christian spirituality, the Mother Mary is often depicted as the Queen of Peace and the essence of the divine feminine that moves within each of us. The voice of the divine feminine invites you today to see the world through reverence and awe, to honor intuition and compassion. Her voice recognizes the qualities of the feminine in all genders. Her voice calls us to a reciprocal relationship in harmony with and respect for both the outer and the inner nature. She's the voice of light that fuels a dream for healing the planet. Author Ruth Eckler in Radiant Awakening tells us that the divine feminine invites us to become a silent witness and a sacred activist, to embrace the wholeness and inclusivity, and to connect with the Divine Mother that is eminent within each of us, and to welcome the power of the feminine transformation for itself in our planet. Please join me now as we enter into the sacred garden of the goddess for our moments of meditation. Today, it is our intention to connect with the voice of the divine feminine, which is within each of us. Close your eyes and take time to breathe deeply. On this beautiful spring morning, the river flows with shades of sky, peacefully reflecting the hues and tints of an artist's vision. A gentle breeze sweeps through your hair, clearing out ruminations and worn out concerns. As you trek the damp paths of the goddess garden, inhale the fragrant scents of magnolias and honeysuckle. You hear the water calling you to a grassy spot beneath an ancient sycamore tree on the banks of the river. You sit on a bench, watching and facing the flowing water. Can you taste the sweet words of your soul, spoken in silent prayer? I leave you now to meditate under the eyes and the heart of the spirit of the sacred feminine. It is time to leave your place next to the flowing water in the garden of the divine feminine. When you are ready, return to our sanctuary and open your eyes. May these words from different traditions cited by Christian mystic Andrew Harvey in his book, The Hope, be accepted in prayer. Lord, let me live to be truly useful. Beloved, make me strong enough to do your will. Divine Mother, fill me with your passion of compassion so I can do your work tirelessly. For as long as space exists and sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the misery of the world. And may it be so.
Thank you, Meredith. All right, it's time for our monthly affirmation, which is, there it is. All right, let's say it together. I am worthy of success. I deserve to pursue meaningful endeavors, and I claim a positive outcome now. Let's do that again. Let's do that from our bellies, from our guts, okay? I am worthy of success. I deserve to pursue meaningful endeavors, and I claim positive outcomes now. These are the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, are you ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace? Gifts of the goddess, are you ready to receive? Love, are you ready? Joy, are you ready? Peace, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? These are the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, are you ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace? Gifts of the goddess, are you ready to receive? Compassion, I am ready. Forgiveness, I am ready. Laughter, I am ready. I am ready to receive. These are the gifts of the goddess, love, joy, and peace. Gifts of the goddess, are you ready to receive all the gifts of the goddess, love, Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. Just a quick update, because Ed and I weren't here last Sunday because Ed had tested positive for COVID. He started testing negative on Friday. He never had symptoms, so so we're grateful for that. And so just kept on doing what we do, but he just stayed at home the entire time, and we wore masks. So, so there's that. So it's Mother's Day, and looking at the power of the divine feminine. Now, this is the month of May, and in the month of May, we also have looked at the power of power. And the power of power, that is given to us. It's given to us from the divine, and we experience through our thoughts and through our feelings, through heaven and earth, through mind and body, through the masculine energy and the feminine energy, both. And the divine feminine, I've heard people say that divine feminine is the way to healing and enlightenment, or the divine feminine is the reawakening of the world and return to higher frequencies of light and thought. Chef Wendell talked a couple of weeks ago about that Christ frequency and raising our own frequency to that. So is this divine feminine a Christian concept? Is it Buddhist? Is it New Age? What is it? The simple answer, yes, is yes. The less simple answer that I have written down is the divine feminine is the goddess of all traditions and has been since the beginning. I have written down the beginning of time, but I want the beginning of our consciousness. These traditions are magical, they're mystical, they're powerful. And part of Mother Earth is the symbolizing healing and balance. So there's Sophia, ancient goddess of wisdom, known in other traditions by other names, Isis. Mary Magdalene and Mary, mother of Jesus, are other incarnations of Isis. As Meredith spoke beautifully in her meditation, the queen bee. So, and in the Old Testament, King Solomon had a profound relationship with Sophia. She was revered as the wise bride of Solomon. So the divine feminine, it's not gender, it's energy. Jesus expressed the divine feminine. So many of us maybe are familiar in the New Testament of the story of the adulteress. Jesus was in Jerusalem. He had been sitting on the steps of the temple, and the Pharisees, the priests, had brought this woman to him and told him, it's like, teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery. It is our law that she should be stoned to death. What do you say we should do with her? And Jesus said to them, you who have not sinned may cast the first stone. One by one, they dropped their stones, and they walked away, starting with the oldest. And when there was no one left, Jesus looked at the woman and said, where are those who condemn you? And she said, they are gone. And he said, I do not condemn you either. Go, sin no more. So in this story, Jesus has expressed some aspects of the feminine energy. I'm going to put it out here to you guys. So what are some of those aspects of the feminine energy that Jesus did express in that moment, in that situation? Healing, forgiveness, nurturing, compassion. Exactly. Compassion, forgiveness, protection, love, and acceptance, and understanding, wisdom, And he did, yeah, exactly. So I want to look at this real quickly on a metaphysical level, because the priests, the Pharisees, they were bringing her in saying, it is our law to do this. They represent our old thoughts, our old way of thinking. And Jesus represents our new thought, the new way of thinking, a higher consciousness. And so what Jesus had done is, okay, old thought, if you're perfect, go ahead, do this thing. And that old thought went away. Because those aspects of the divine feminine, the nurturing, the acceptance, the forgiveness, the protection, the love, was stronger than that old belief. So here are some aspects or some principles of the feminine. Inner directed, receptive, nurturing, wisdom, intuition, creativity, compassion, connecting and relating to others, focused more on being than doing, concerned and responsive to the needs of others, values others' lives. Also, in the New Testament, the story of Mary and Martha, where Jesus is coming to visit them, and Martha is busy readying the house for Jesus' visit, and he shows up, and everything's not done yet, and Mary sits down to listen to what Jesus has to say, and Martha keeps busying herself, finishing up and doing the things. Mary is representing the feminine energy there. She is ready to receive what Jesus has to offer, and Martha is exhibiting that masculine energy of, this has to be perfect, and we're going to do all this, we're doing, and Mary was just being. So what is the essence of masculine energy, I hear you ask? Now, it's not, again, we're talking about energy and not macho man. Okay, we're not talking about that. So the masculine energy is outer directed into action. It's doing rather than being. It's goal setting, it's analysis, it's accomplishments, it's decisiveness and risk taking. At times, aggression and dominance, strength of self, deep value of own self. And here at Unity, we say over and over and over and over again, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So we are spiritual beings and we're human doings. When we go within and to nurture the spiritual side of us, we're being. We're being present, we're being mindful, we're being in the moment. And when we focus on our humanness, that's when we're doing. So we have traits from both of those. And is one better than the other? Okay, no. They're just different. Actually, we use both of them. We require both of them because we need balance. And is that my balance? Yeah. Okay. We need balance. They balance each other out. Are we completely, perfectly balanced at all times? No, we're not. Sometimes you need to express the feminine energy. Sometimes you need to express the masculine energy. But if one of those just completely takes over, you'll be completely offering the masculine energy, or you may be completely offering the feminine energy. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. This is, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. It's also the song. Is it the Birds? To everything? Anyway, so to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. And it goes on to say, A time to be born, a time to die, a time to reap, a time to sow, a time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. I used to think that this was about cycle. You're born, you die. You're born, you die. You sow, you reap. You sow, you reap. And that is true. It is about cycle, but it's also about balance. There's a time for each of those things. There is a time to laugh, and there is a time to cry. And when we're grieving, we experience that. When you go to a memorial service or a celebration of life or a funeral, there are people crying, and oftentimes there are people laughing too. It's not out of disrespect, it's out of memories. And there is a time for that in that situation, because you're weighing that. They're both there, but they're balanced. There's a give and a receive. In Eastern philosophy, this balance is called yin-yang. You may have seen the circle with the black and white swirlies in it. In Hinduism, you have Shakti and Shiva. Shakti, the feminine, Shiva, the masculine. If you go to yoga classes, you may have heard some of these terms before. Shiva is the destroyer. It's that masculine energy. It's the destroyer. And in the three Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, you have Adam and Eve together. Adam and Eve are the full expression of God. And we have Jesus, the full expression of God. I saw an article this week. It's about Reverend Dr. Will Gaffney. She is a womanist, Hebrew biblical scholar, and Episcopal priest. And it says, "Who translate God words matters," Gaffney said. "That will shape what you hear and thus what you think about God." Then Gaffney read the opening portions of Genesis 1 and Genesis 1 and 2, first in Hebrew and then with a literal translation. "When beginning, He, God, created the heavens and the earth. And the Spirit of God, she fluttered over the face of the earth." The Spirit of God and she are paired more than 30 times in Scripture, Gaffney said. God is female and male. When God gets around to creating creatures in a divine image, they will be female and male, as God is. So how balanced is our world right now? It's not? Is it not? We see a lot of masculine energy right now, right? That's what the media gives us. That's what social media gives us. That's what gets focused on a lot. We see a lot of that masculine energy and its toxicness. We see what Putin is doing. He's using full 100% masculine energy in invading Ukraine. But what else do we see on that? We see the rise of the feminine energy. What is the rest of the world doing? The rest of the world is going to Ukraine and nurturing and caring and loving. We're not fighting back. We're supporting and caring and nurturing and loving. So there is a rise in the feminine energy going on. We have to look for it because it doesn't make the headlines. And even in medicine, Western medicine is very masculine energied. And many doctors are, you do this because I tell you, blah, 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 blah. They don't care. There is a change. There is a shift in that. They are learning skills of empathy and to treat the whole person, not just the disease. So too much masculine, and we can get aggression and domination. Too much feminine, we get disempowerment and stagnation. So how do we fix it? How? How do we fix that? Well, what do we sing every Sunday at the end of church? Let it begin with me. It starts with us. It starts with me. It starts with Crystal. It starts with Ruth. It starts with each one of us as an individual. And as Chef Wendell talked about, the vibes, the high vibration of the Christ, when we set ourselves to that frequency and we go out into the world, we bring other people up to that frequency. Like he said, he goes into a room, is like, I'm going to go raise the vibration, walks into the room, and all of a sudden people are smiling, and their energy is lifted. And we've all experienced this with other people. We have probably done it ourselves. When you raise your vibration, you raise the vibration of those around you. They did an experiment with metronomes. Metronomes are those little tick-tocky things that musicians use so they know what tempo the song goes. In the experiment, they set a whole bunch of metronomes at the same speed. But I wish I had one, because to start them, you just push it and it starts going, and it takes but so they started a whole bunch of them at different times, but they were all set at the same speed. So it was like lots of tick-tock going on in various times, but within a couple minutes, they had synced up, and they were all ticking together. That's how this works. That's how our vibration, we can bring that up to others. And the other way around, if you walk in and you're a gloomy Gus, a bad luck schleprock, wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo, you may pull the vibration down with you. So bring that up, raise the vibration to bring that up with others. In Kabbalah, the mystic Jewish tradition, the healers use the Kabbalah tree of life. This in itself is years and years and years and years of study. So we're just going to look at here where it says victory, and there where it says splendor, and here where it says foundation. So we're just going to concentrate right on this area here. In Judaism, this would be David of the 12 brothers. Joseph of the 12 brothers, because Joseph expressed divine feminine and divine masculine. For Christians, that would be Jesus. It's that expression of both. But for us, that's our foundation, that's our expression, that's how we show up in life. The victory side, that is the masculine side, and the splendor is the feminine side. So if you look at how are you showing up in the world, am I showing up more toward this masculine way, or am I showing up more on this feminine side? It's a way of looking at and finding that balance. So if you find yourselves constantly fighting and at war, you might need to dial it back, and I need to add some more nurturing in there. Or if you're sitting over here on the other side going, oh gosh, look at all that fighting, I'm just going to sit over here and peace to you, peace to you, peace to you. Okay, you might want to do more, because after you pray, what's the next thing you do? Move your feet. Okay. In nature-based, we look at the elements of earth, wind, and fire, and water. You know, like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Okay. Thought that would go over with this crowd. Okay. So earth, wind, fire, and water. Wind and fire are the masculine elements. They are like Shiva, the destroyer. They destroy. Fire destroys. Wind can destroy. And then water and earth are the feminine. It's our Mother Earth. It's water. When you plant a seed, you plant it in the earth and you nurture it and feed it with water. And water imagery is used in a lot of creation myths. I've shared this story before. It's been 6 years, but the story from the Yoruba faith, an African tribal religion. Olrun was the main big goddess, the queen bee, and she had a daughter, Olodumare. Well, Olrun wanted to create life, but her water was way too hot. She would try to create, it was just too hot, could not sustain life. But her daughter, her water was cooler, and so Olrun would pour her water down to her daughter, Olodumare, and the water would cool. And so Olodumare was able then to create life and energy of the universe. So that's a creation story in an African tradition. But water is sacred. In Hinduism, the Ganges River is not just a river. In ancient tradition, the Ganges River is a goddess. Millions of people travel to the Ganges to immerse themselves in the healing power of the goddess. Millions of Christians each year travel to Lourdes, France, to bathe or drink the miraculous healing water where at least 70 miracles have been reported. So today, we're going to anoint ourselves with water. I have a vessel of water down here, and this water represents the healing and the restoring energy of Mother God. In a few moments, we're going to go into a meditation, and in the silence, I will ask you to ask, where in my life do I need to embrace the divine feminine? At the end of every year, the last Sunday of the year, we do the burning bowl ceremony, where we release those things that we no longer wish to have, those things that no longer wish that that serve us. And we write that down, we put it on the flash paper, and we burn it. Okay, that's expressing our masculine energy. Okay, which is good. I'm never saying that masculine energy is bad. So that's expressing that. Today we're going to demonstrate the feminine energy and invite her into our lives. So I'm going to bless this water. Divine Spirit Mother, we bless this water and make it pure. We add to this water your power, beauty, and nurturing kindness. May this water bless us. Amen. So here are your directions before we go into meditation. Over here is a thing of sanitizer. Okay, we're going to use that. So be sure to sanitize. Okay. And then just dip a finger in the water. You don't need some guys. Just dip in there. Place it on your forehead. Invite Divine Mother into you. And you can anoint your forehead. You can make a cloth, whatever is sacred to you in that moment. So you'll start over here on this side. So if you're sitting over here, go back around and line up here. Sanitize, anoint yourself, and then go back out this aisle. Okay? So go ahead and get solid in your chair. Let your feet support your legs. Let the chair support your body. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a couple of seconds and then release through your mouth. Breathing in and out. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And then let your breath come naturally. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Float into the mystery. Ask yourself, where do I need to invite the divine feminine into my life? And listen in the silence. Mother Spirit, I have heard you, and I am grateful for your wisdom. When you are ready, I invite you to come forward and anoint yourself with the holy water. I am worthy of success. I deserve to pursue meaningful endeavors, and I claim positive outcomes now. Wangari Maathai, I pronounced her last name incorrectly, 1940 to 2011, was a Kenyan environmentalist and women's rights activist who clashed with the government over her efforts to plant trees, conserve forest land, and bring democracy to the country. Wangari raised funds to pay poor women a small amount to plant and care for each tree. She used the power of the divine feminine and raised above the divine controlling masculine energy of that time. She was raised where women didn't get educated. Her brother thought it seemed to be unfair and said something to her parents. Kenya was under British colonization at that time. And so then she was able to go to school, she got an education, and boy did she ever get an education. But at the time, the British were destroying their trees. They were tearing out their trees and planting tea, because that's what they decided that's what they were making money off of, selling tea. Well, once that British rule dissolved and went away, the Kenyans didn't know what else to do but to tear down trees and plant tea, and it wasn't serving them. It wasn't serving the land. The land was being destroyed. And Wangari started planting trees and teaching women how to plant trees. But she was inner directed. She was guided by spirit. She was receptive. She was nurturing to the land that was being destroyed. She was using her wisdom, her intuition, her creativity, her compassion for her people and her land. She connected with others and related to others and taught them what needed to be done. She was more focused on being a loving nurturer of the planet. Yes, she was doing some doing, but her concern and responsiveness to the needs of others outweighed everything else. So yes, you can use your divine feminine energy to be success, to pursue meaningful endeavors. This was a meaningful endeavor. She was raising Kenya back up out of a desert into land that was viable again, and nurturing to not only the people, but the wildlife and their economy. She later was the first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to finish off with a poem, God, Our Mother, by Alison Woodard. To be a mother is to suffer, to travel in the dark, stretched and torn, exposed in half-naked humiliation, subjected to the indignities for the sake of new life. To be a mother is to say, this is my body broken for you. And in the next instant, in response to the created's primal hunger, this is my body, take and eat. To be a mother is to self-empty, to neither slumber nor sleep. So attuned you are to cries in the night, offering the comfort of yourself and assurance of, I'm here. To be a mother is to weep over the fighting and exclusions and wounds your children inflict on one another. To long for reconciliation and brotherly love, and when all is said and done, to gather all parties, the offender and the offended, into the folds of your embrace, and to whisper in their ears that they are beloved. To be a mother is to be vulnerable, to be misunderstood, railed against, blamed for the heartaches and the bewildered children who don't know where else to cast the anger, the angst they feel over their own existence in this perplexing universe. To be a mother is to hoist onto your hips those whom your image is imprinted, bearing the burden of their weight, rejoicing in their returned affection, delighted in their wonder, bleeding in the presence of their pain. To be a mother is to be accused of sentimentality one moment and injustice the next. To be the receiver of endless demands, absorber of perpetual complaints, reckoner of bottomless needs. To be a mother is to be an artist, a keeper of memories past, weaver of stories told, visionary of lives looming ahead. To be a mother is to be the first voice listened to and the first disregarded. To be a member of broken creations and comforter of the distraught children whose hands wrought them. To be a mother is to be a touchstone and the source, bestower of names, influencer of identities, life giver, life shaper, empath, healer, and original love. Happy Mother's Day to you all. Thank you.